Hey Tyquil, good morning. Sorry I'm a little late, but happy Friday to you. Recording, let's do that. All right. So we'll go over welcome again. We'll go over everything that's due real quick for today. Um, you can find recordings on the YouTube channel where I'm going over or I'm going into more detail on these assignments, in previous classes. So check there if you are stumped on something or ask me a question. And I will also be in the Summit Lab again today. All right. I only saw one person in there yesterday. So, please remember to utilize that resource if you need to. That's why it's there for one-on-one help and, another time during the day to work on stuff and be able to ask questions, whatever you need. Okay. So, that being said, let's just go over everything that is due. Right, so I'm looking for about 5 things. Okay, number one thing I'm looking for is your family tree. All right, you can find details for that under checkpoint 1 reading notes, and you scroll down where you see entry event note taker that looks like this. Right, and then you scroll down from here till you see task 2, and here you see the directions on kind of what you need to do to help you out. Define a family tree, brainstorm a list of people, create your key, which again is just telling me how to read your tree. So okay, if it's a blue line, it means it's my mom's side. If it's a red line, it means it's my dad's side. If it's a dotted line, it means they're related, something like that. And then create the actual tree. You can do that on a Google Doc, you can do it on a Google Slide, you can do it by hand and then just take a picture of it, share it with my email. Okay, whatever works best for you, right? And that is your family tree. The next thing is to do the actual checkpoint up here, reading notes, which should look like this when you click on it, okay? And you're going to see all these different links. We're only focused on chapter 1, which is Effia, right? And then if you look at the directions up here, it gives you a kind of cheat sheet on what to put in each box, all right, based on the story, which you can find at this link that I will put in the chat right now, right? You can also search Homegoing on YouTube for the audiobook. And you can find the audiobook version there as well. And then you're just worrying about the first chapter, filling out these notes accordingly. And again, if you're stumped on these, there are previous class recordings where I go into more detail, give some examples on how to fill them out. All right. And then you're done with the checkpoint 1 stuff. Next, go down to narrative outline. All right. This will be checkpoint 2 on yours. Right? If you scroll down to where it says brainstorming prompts activity, it looks like this, right? You're just answering these questions in these boxes with your own answers, not based on the story, okay? So these are what your answers to these, all right? Filling out these boxes to get background information on past, present, future, because that's what you're going to use to write your vignettes that are going to tell your narrative for the final project, right? So after you finish the brainstorm, you can go back up to the actual checkpoint right here, narrative outline, which looks like this. And you can see I kind of have mine done as an example still. This is where you are creating your story and planning out your outline, your characters, what's going to happen. And again, you're doing that for each of these 3 vignettes. So you're going to have, a short little, narrative moment from the past, a short little narrative moment, or scene from the present, and same thing again for the future. Each one of them is going to be its own kind of thing, but they're all going to tell one larger story. Again, just like when we watched the beginning of Up as an example, and we see there was each of those little flashbacks that, was by itself, wasn't really a whole story, but when you put them all together, it told us the bigger, overarching story of Carl and Ellie and why Carl is grumpy and alone when the movie starts. Right, so you're kind of doing the same thing, and you can see I've kind of already done some as an example. So I say, okay, my main character in the past is my great grandfather. What does he look like? What are his traits? This is where it takes place in Italy and America. This is what starts to happen. And then now in the present, the character is me. And then in the future, maybe it's my son named Francesco, and it takes place in the same place the story started, but now it's in the future. Maybe he goes back there to do something, to find something, to bring something back, whatever I want to come up with for my story, right? That's what you're doing there. And then once you have the outline finished, you can go all the way down till you see past, present, future narrative right here. And then you click on the link, and it should take you to something that looks like this, which is where you're just going to take everything you have in your outline and put it into your final product in story form. That means it should read like a story reads. So paragraphs, maybe even some dialogue, whatever it might be. And then this should be about page and a half is what I'm looking for here. It can be longer if you'd like, but should be no less than that. All right. So I shouldn't see just a paragraph, in other words. Okay. And then once you finish that, legends, that is it for what I'm looking for this class. Okay. Are there questions on any of that? I know I'm doing a lot of talking today, so I just want to make sure you guys are still with me, still understanding everything that's going on. So if you understand everything you need to have turned in um, by today for the end of the term, please give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat right now. Right? So that I know you are still out there and understand what's going on. All right. Can I get a thumbs up from anybody in the chat if you are good to go and understand everything you need to have completed? Are we still with me up there? Have we drifted off, stepped away? Looking for a thumbs up or a yes in the chat if you understand everything that you need to have turned in and you know what you need to do.